Alright, so in this tutorial what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how we can use that reciprocal method that I showed you on Friday and how we can use that to solve our equations. Now technically all we're doing is the same thing we normally would if we were to multiply or divide. The reason we call this reciprocal method though is we're actually going to use the reciprocals of our coefficients to solve the equation. Now in some instances it seems like it's more than necessary, but the reason we do this is it's going to help us later when we have really complex equations with fractions. So let's go ahead and look at this first one. This says x over 7 is equal to 11. So my first step is I'm going to rewrite my problem. Now what I need to do is figure out what's my coefficient here. Now it's hidden. X over 7 is really just 1 over 7 times x equal to 11. If I were to multiply these back together, I would get this. Now I can see my coefficient is actually 1/7. So I'm going to multiply just by the reciprocal of 1/7 on both sides. So the reason I do that is if you see right here, this turns into 1 because I'm going to get 7 over 7. I still will have x equals, and then I'm going to have 11 times 7 over 1. Well, just so I make sure I know what I'm doing, this is a fraction. 11 times 7 is 77. 1 times 1 is 1. So here would be my answer. And then of course if I wanted to check my work, I would substitute my answer back in. So it's 77 over 7 equals 11. We know 77 divided by 7 is 11. 11 equals 11. Done. So in this example, where our coefficient was kind of hidden, so we had to actually separate it here. Now if we look at the next example, we have 5 times b divided by 9 equal to 8. So our coefficient is a little bit more visible. It's this fraction right here, 5/9. So as before, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite my problem. So my coefficient here is 5/9. So I'm just going to go ahead and multiply by the reciprocal of 5/9, which is of course 9 over 5. I do that to both sides. Now here, right here, when I multiply these, this is where I get 1. So I'm left with b on the left, and let me go ahead and make this a fraction. I'm going to get 8 times 9, which is 72, 5 on the bottom, and this is an improper fraction. The book may want you to leave it as a mixed number or turn it into a mixed number or leave it as an improper. We're going to go ahead and just leave it improper for right now. So let's go ahead and check our answer. So this says 5/9 times b. Well, b is a fraction, so I have to be careful how I write this. So this is 5/9 times whatever b is. Well, b is 72 over 5 equals 8. Is this true? Well, we can see that we can cross cancel. Right here we have a common factor of 5, so 5 goes into itself one time. So really I end up with, if I multiply straight across, I'm going to end up with 72 over 9, which does in fact equal 8. Which is good. Alright, so now we've been doing this. Notice everything's been nice and simple because they're all positive. But if you look on the third one here, it's very similar to our first problem, such that our coefficient is hidden, but if you also notice, it has a negative. So when we separate it like we did here, we have to make sure that we're actually going to separate with our negative. So I'm going to go ahead and write my problem first like we normally do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and separate my coefficient. I'm going to pull the negative out with it, so that is actually negative 1/3. So we're actually going to have a negative 1/3 times r equal to 12. Now I can multiply by the reciprocal, which is a negative 1/3. We want to take that negative with us on both sides. And it really doesn't matter where you put the negative, but if you want to keep it with the number 1, that's fine. So here we have, notice it turns into positive 1. So we're left with r equal to, and we're going to get 12 times 3, which is 36 over a negative 1, which means r equals a negative 36. So now if we go ahead and check our answer, we're going to put negative 36 in for r. So we have to be careful with our substitutions because we have that negative in front of r. So we're actually going to have negative 36 over 3. Is that equal to 12? Well, a negative times a negative makes it positive, and positive 36 divided by 3 is in fact 12. So we're done, and we checked our work. So notice the common theme here. We figure out what the coefficient is in each problem. We multiply by the reciprocal of it on both sides. So in 1 and 3 we had to find the reciprocal because it's hidden. In number 2 the reciprocal was very direct and was obvious to us. And we do the same thing with negatives. Good luck.